Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patrons, Tom P, Rob H, Jerry M, and Walt and Billy H. Thank you all for choosing to support the channel. First up, the partnership between Hertz and Uber will be expanding to select cities in Europe sometime before 2025. They're looking to make around 25,000 electric vehicles available for Uber drivers to rent. That will be either the Tesla Model 3 or the Polestar 2. Uber drivers in London will be the first to have access to these new EVs, followed eventually by Paris and Amsterdam. And Reuters is saying the rollout in London will start this month. This should come as no surprise, as by all accounts, the partnership between Hertz and Uber in the United States has been very successful so far. The two companies have not yet disclosed anything when it comes to rates for the European market, but they said it'll likely be in line with what we're seeing in the United States, which is around $330 per week, which does include maintenance and insurance. Teslarati shared this image from Last Bulb showing the growth of Tesla's virtual power plant program in California, specifically for SoCal Edison and PG&E customers. Doing the math from the end of June 2022 to the end of December 2022, it works out to about 350% growth. So Tesla's VPP in California now includes over 5,700 homes. We got the next weekly insured data number for Tesla in China, and it was 12,654. I've seen a wide variety of reactions to this data on social media, so let's just keep things simple and understand it's just 1 week of data. However, with all data, it's best to find a baseline or a good comparison. So in the case of Tesla and this data, we should be looking back to Q4 for the first few weeks of that quarter. In the first week of Q4, this number for Tesla, 2,218, compared to the first week of Q1, 2,110. Right in line. In the second week of Q4, Tesla's number was 1,724. Compare that to the second week of Q1, where we're at 12,654. Quite the increase from where we were at the same time in Q4. So for everybody out there that's crying about this number not being over 30,000, I would just respectfully say, look back at the data, compare it to what you should, and further, there's no week where that number is even over 17,000. And out of the last 15 weeks of insurance data, there are only 4 weeks that were higher than this most recent reading. And finally, I would just add, things are still somewhat of a mess in China with COVID and the real estate market, and now consumers are expecting other automakers to lower prices, so a smart consumer would try to be patient and see what happens with the EV space. So with all of that context, if you're asking me to analyze this 1 week of data, I would say personally I think it's really good. But again, 1 week doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. And this is nothing at all against Troy, but sometimes this type of data in these charts can be somewhat misleading. The uninformed person would look at this and say, oh wow, BYD is crushing Tesla and taking all of its market share. In reality, BYD is selling most of its cars at lower price points. So would you want to compare Toyota's sales to Ferrari? The answer is no. And I'm not saying that's a perfect comparison for this example, but just to make the point. I'm just saying to really understand what's going on in the auto market, you have to understand who is selling how many cars in different price brackets. But yeah, I've said it before, I'll say it again. BYD is doing incredibly well and they are serious competition for Tesla. So the race is on and I'm here for all of it. For those interested in BYD's weekly insured data, it came in at 40,420. According to the KBA, for the first time ever, Tesla sold the most EVs out of every automaker in Germany in 2022, officially dethroning VW in the process. Tesla sold 69,962 vehicles. VW sold 63,206. Those figures are full BEVs, which now represent 17.7% of the new car market in Germany. In fairness, if you throw in hybrid vehicles, VW is still in the lead. I would just add that Tesla is doing this with Giga Berlin operating at a fraction of full capacity. For the first phase, it should be around 500,000 units per year. Right now, the run rate is in the neighborhood of 150,000 per year. This Indonesia reporting has really been something, but the latest is they're finalizing agreements with BYD and Tesla, according to a senior cabinet minister. Luhut Panjaitan has now said all of the biggest EV car makers in the world will invest here. BYD Group, the #1 in the world, Tesla, the #2, Hyundai, and so on, they're all finalizing deals with Indonesia. I would caution Luhut with saying Tesla is #2 publicly because we know how competitive Elon is. Because if you're talking about global status and just full BEVs, at least in terms of 2022, Tesla is still the top dog. Question for you, is peace of mind worth around $2 per month for you? If so, listen up. I think a lot of us know that in 2023, basically everything we do online is tracked, analyzed, and in a lot of cases, our data and activity is sold without us knowing. Consumer data is the new gold. So how do you protect yourself from all of this nonsense? Well, it's actually fairly simple. A virtual private network like Surfshark that also offers many other useful features as well. Surfshark is the sponsor of this video, but I've been using them now for years and I'm still loving this service and the value. So thanks to Matt Farrell because he turned me on to them years ago. Surfshark is one of the only VPNs to allow one account for unlimited devices. And you may not know this, but Surfshark can actually help you to get the best deals on flights and hotels. The clean web feature is awesome too. Say goodbye to ads, trackers, and malware spamming you everywhere all over the internet. So seriously, all of that for around $2 per month is a no-brainer, at least in my book. You can get 83% off and 3 extra months for free at surfshark.deals/electrified, linked below. They also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So yeah, check it out if you would like. It really is a great way to support the channel. Giga Texas continuing to expand with a new $59 million die shop, but it may not be exactly what you think. Filings show the building should be over 107,000 square feet and that construction would begin on January 30th, but if you look at the drone flyovers, you'll see construction has already started. So here are the beginnings of this new die shop, and it's going to be to the west of the cathode facility. And thanks to some great work from Joe Tetmeyer and some of his patrons, die may not be for die cast, but rather lithium dynamic ion extraction, meaning this could be for the lithium refinery operations. Of course, it's all speculation, but they did some great DD, so this video will be linked below if you want to dive into the detail. But for now, based on what I'm seeing, I personally would lean toward this die shot being for the lithium refinery. Joe's video will be linked below. This is a somewhat small sample set, however, it really proves the point that if when Tesla ever does decide to do more traditional advertising, not implying anything that I think they should or whatever, they're going to have reach like none other, and they have it organically, not really paying for advertising like some of these other companies. Views of tweets in the last 30 days for Tesla, 275 million. The next closest competitor is BMW at 4 million. And yes, Tesla got that amount of views with the same number of tweets as BMW. If you'd say, who cares about views? It's all about likes. Well, here's that data for your likes. Tesla, 869,000. Dodge at #2 with 30,000. And if you're confused by the title of the chart saying in thousands, implying this should be multiplied by 1,000, which would be 869 million, you can't have more likes than people viewing the tweets. Speaking of advertising, here's some that Tesla could use for the Car Aquatic.
So you turn right, and our garage is a little underground. Oh!
Yeah, we're getting out of there.
What is this lady doing?
Oh, yeah, we're getting out.
Keep going, lady.
Oh, my God.
Well, you know, there's no engine.
I, of course, do not recommend this at home.
Oh.
Honestly, I think this is one of the most overlooked aspects of why Tesla has had so much success, and it's on trajectory to have success that we've never really seen before. This tweet thread from Bill Gurley was just talking about how to build a successful business now going forward, it's going to be much harder than it was the past 5 years when it was really easy to raise money. But he said, if you don't ensure your company is executing at the very best of its ability, Elon demanding excellence, with a team-first attitude, Elon empowers his resources teams like none other, with a shared common goal. The mission of Tesla has been clear from day one. Odds are likely you will fail. Now, yes, this was talking more about startups, but the same principles apply to any business. And look, I want legacy OEMs to succeed. I personally would rather not be paying for their bailouts in the future. But I really feel like their common goal right now is to not die, and that's just not nearly as inspiring as changing the world, driving it to sustainable energy. And at Tesla, these folks have the ability to work on the most advanced cutting-edge technology. So we talk about it a lot, but where is the best talent going to flock to? The answer is mostly Tesla. Probably worth mentioning in response to that thread, Elon said wise words. If you happen to see this headline, it was a quote from Ashok Eliswamy back in 2018 in a deposition. People will make this a bigger deal than it needs to be. Personally, I think this is the best explanation. The intent of that video was not to accurately portray what was available to customers in 2016, but to show what was possible to build into the system. I will have this below if you want to read more. Tesla is yet again doing an FSD beta strike reset with the release 0.25.2. The last time Tesla did a reset like this was August 2022, and they also did it in January of 2022. So it seems to be in a 6-month cadence right now, but it could of course be other factors as well. Like the fact that FSD beta went to a much wider release at the end of last year, so there's a lot of new users and maybe they just want to start fresh. One other thing from the Franz interview over the weekend, he did say that the Model 3 and Y will likely not get stockless systems. I know a lot of people have been talking about that on social media, especially when it comes to Project Highland, so just keep that in mind. I lied, one more. Franz also said the stainless steel is incredibly hard, so if in the event there's a scratch, there is a process you could do yourself to buff it or remove the scratch, as well as return to the basic finish that's on the stainless. So basically, Tesla has developed its own intentional finish, meaning there's no directional finish like stainless steel appliances you may see at your home, like a fridge, where they actually have lines up or down or side to side. Add it to your Tesla innovation list. Jefferies has lowered their Tesla stock price target from $350 to $180. But I'm showing you this because their 2023 expectations for GAAP EPS is $3.61, almost $2 below where Wall Street is as a whole. So you better believe this one made it to the prediction tracker, and we'll come back and visit it at the end of this year. And yes, I will review more of these either on a slow news day in the future or over on Patreon sometime soon. In line with basically all legacy OEMs, Renault said that its flagship brand fell for the 4th consecutive year to 1.466 million units, down 9.4% from 2021. Today, Xpeng also lowered its prices by around 12% for all models except the G9. Now the P7 is the same price as a Tesla Model 3. They did, however, say their price cuts had nothing to do with Tesla, just that their operational costs are now lower. Okay. If you're potentially in the market for a used EV under $25,000, then this article may be for you. It will be linked below. It does a good job of explaining all of the requirements and the caps and the incentives that are available. Plus, they put together this list of what vehicles specifically may actually qualify and what they may qualify for. So again, you can find it below. And I don't usually report on Twitter stuff, but this one is honestly really exciting. I don't know exactly what it'll look like, but more than 36 news outlets, media companies, and sports leagues have deals for the first half of this year with Twitter to run content sponsorship deals. So for sports fans, these leagues and more plan to run content deals on Twitter for regular season games and bigger events like March Madness, playoffs, and the Super Bowl. No worries if sports aren't your thing, there will be other content deals for coverage of the World Economic Forum, CES, or TV shows like The Bachelor and others. There's a lot more in the article, so if you're interested, it'll be below. That's all for today. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.